You know, it's pretty crazy how intense the effects of masculinity can be. Our need to embody a concept that we've never been told exactly what it is. Like, as more and more of these conversations happen, it becomes clearer that this concept we subconsciously hold so high in terms of influence on our lives gets turned into more of an energy that we feel. It's an energy that has to be turned up and focused on in some situations and respectfully diminished in others. It may just be the maturity to have control over it that becomes more so the mastery of it. Today's guest is Noor Kidwai, a Pakistani comedian living in Toronto. We met a couple weeks ago at the Great Outdoors Comedy Fest and like spiritually connected. Our energies met and immediately just knew that we could open up to each other in a way. And I was really overjoyed when he said he would love to come and speak on the podcast. So, from cruel masculinity, energy on stage and comedy, to the feminine side of things, how they blend together, his personal journey to spirituality and inner peace, and everything in between. This conversation, it sheds light on what I'd call just another beautiful experience of someone figuring it out as they go, because that's all we can do. So, as always, I'm Tyrone. If you're here on YouTube watching this, or if you're in the podcast already, you know. And if you're brand new, you can find me at my new website at hellotyrone.ca. So yeah, enjoy. Hello, Noor. How you doing?
Hey Tyrone, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Okay, round two. Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we met so recently, just a week and a half ago or so, and I love that we just talked about it, and you're a go-getter, and we discussed it, and we made it happen so quickly. So welcome, and happy you're here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, this is I like how you have a very authentic podcast or interview style thing that you're doing here and talking about actual real subjects and subjects I connect with. So I appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you watched one of the episodes, maybe more. So you know the first question, I think, and what is your definition of masculinity?
So the way I always look at masculinity and femininity, I see it as kind of polarities that everybody possesses. Men and women both have masculine and feminine parts of themselves.
Right.
And yeah, I kind of see it as stuff that we both have inside of ourselves. And it's something that we can kind of come back to and let ourselves express it naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, where does that belief come from, and kind of like what is the masculine side of that to you?
So, like I'm a very spiritual guy. I've been doing stuff in spirituality for the last 20 years. And I kind of went through the whole marketplace of spiritual practices. And
Mhm.
it kind of brought me to this belief, which is in Eastern philosophy about like masculine and feminine energies. And, the masculine energy is kind of seen as like, it's kind of seen as like in the stillness and in logic and in conviction. It's like those
Mhm.
kind of energies are very masculine, and then the feminine energy is more about movement and feeling and yeah, like it's kind of like the parable I've seen used in Eastern philosophy. It's like masculinity is the mountain and then
Mhm.
femininity is the weather around the mountain, and they both have such like amazing attributes to them, and then they both have such destructive attributes to them.
Okay.
So it's kind of like feeling both of those things inside of us,
Yeah.
but allowing them to express naturally. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
I really like that actually. I've never heard that. Yeah, the interesting, like the mountain, how a mountain can be destructive, right? If it can, if it's too still, if it's too big, it just kind of gets in the way, um,
hmm
in a form. Yeah,
And it's
that's
also in Eastern philosophy, especially, the mountain also represents the logic as well. And then the weather also represents the feeling.
hmm
So if you go through life only in the logical thinking brain and that's only it, there's a very destructive, and you're very unconscious as well.
yeah,
And there's going to be things that happen to you because of that. But
yeah,
if you're only feeling and you don't have that logical thinking brain, you can become into that hedonistic side of you really easily, or you can get taken advantage of really easily. So you
yeah,
need to have that balance. And it's like the balance isn't about trying to cultivate either and yourself. It's
hmm
about, to me, and my belief is the balance is about coming back to your own being, learning to be authentic,
yeah.
and that when you come back to yourself, you allow those energies to express themselves naturally.
Okay, and yeah, that's so interesting. A lot of my guests, or just people that I've spoken to, when I bring up that question, they are, while they mention both energies or both sides of things, they do have more of a definition. But every time, I guess we've spoken about it, it's like you always say that it's inseparable, right? Like it's not, it's less one or the other in this kind of polarized way, and it's more so they exist together, and these are some of the attributes that exist on the masculine side, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So
How do the people, when they separate them, how do they say like individuals embody? Do they kind of say embody a little bit of both, or?
yeah, it's usually that there's both, but there's more of a willingness to define one separately. I would
Hmm.
say, like, it's like, oh, this is masculine. I define masculinity as this. And while there are feminine sides that exist, like, this is kind of the masculinity that I embody. And you seem to come forward with, like, hey, they're just together. This may be some of the attributes on the masculine and feminine sides, but I'm this whole person that has
Hmm.
both, like, regardless of whatever one or the other may have, right? Um, which is a very healthy outlook, I would say, right? As opposed to like needing to separate and define them. I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And honestly, because I think you probably have heard of like how when it comes to us maturing, there's parts of our masculine side and parts of our feminine side. We have to learn to mature, I guess is the best way to say it.
Mhm.
For me, when I was telling you before, before this recording, like I've done ayahuasca years ago. I don't do any kind of stuff anymore. I'm just like completely sober. But when I was experimenting with ayahuasca, it's a very beautiful plant medicine that
Mhm.
connects you to something deeper in yourself, and it really feels like you're connected to like God. I don't know how much you talk about that on this
You can talk
podcast.
about whatever, whatever.
But honestly, it really makes you feel like you're connected to something more, a higher power, and that power is showing you stuff that you need to cultivate yourself and you need to expand on and allow to become more of yourself. So when I was doing it, a lot of the time it was my masculinity that I needed to work on. And at that time, it was conviction. I needed more
Right.
conviction in my life. And conviction is a very masculine trait,
hmm
in my opinion. Conviction is like, when you have conviction of something, it's like this is happening or this is it, and it's unwavering. And
hmm
that's like when we're talking about that mountain, that stillness. that conviction is that's a very masculine trait, and sometimes you need that in parts of your life. It's like if I'm going to do something and I have conviction,
Yeah.
that stillness, that unwavering strength in that belief,
Hmm.
it makes it makes things happen. It's a very powerful thing. And with even with God, for me, that was a big thing. It was like I was always spiritual. I always
Yeah.
believed in a higher power. But if you don't have conviction, you don't live your life with that
Right.
belief present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. The belief itself doesn't make things happen. It has there, that conviction has to be there. Right. I
Hmm.
know I've spoken to some people that are very religious, and they echo the same things where it's like, hey, I can believe, but I still need to put in the work, right? Like I still need to have the internal belief, and I'm not just saying, hey, I've put it out there, I've prayed, I've believed God will give me the right path, but I also have to do the work here on the ground to make that happen, right? So
Yes,
yeah, I get
yes.
that.
And so for me, like a few years ago when I was doing that ayahuasca stuff, so this was probably 8, 9 years ago, this was like a lot of my masculine parts of myself I really was working on and really
Mhm.
was learning how to embody those parts of myself and express them in a healthier way.
Yeah.
And then now it's like there's a lot of feminine parts of myself that I'm learning to embody a little bit properly. And like I was saying, the masculine energy is a lot logic and thinking. The feminine energy is a lot of feeling. And
Hmm.
right now, it's like I'm learning to be express myself in a very authentic way, and that's very being very vulnerable when you become authentic, because when you become authentic you start saying shit that people don't like a lot of times,
Yeah.
or you start saying your beliefs unapologetically.
Yeah.
And that's like true authenticity, and when that happens you're going to ruffle feathers or you're going to make people uncomfortable, and for you have to be able to do that. And for
Yeah.
me to get to that authenticity, I really had to embody feeling, and I had to feel in myself what emotions are kind of really holding me back. And
And so that sorry to cut you off there, but what is kind of the strongest thing you've dove into in that regard? Like you came about the spiritual journey through plant medicine and other ways, and you discovered, hey, I have these two sides of me, and you're diving into this feminine side. And what is kind of your main focus there? Like what feelings are you expressing? What does that look like to you, and how has it enhanced the ability to be confident in your masculinity as well?
yeah, those are great questions, man. All right, so the short answer is anxiety. Yeah,
Okay.
the short answer is anxiety. But to give you a real picture of this, when I developed those masculine parts of myself, when I said conviction, a lot of it was conviction in what I'm doing, and it brought a lot of action in my life. So that action was me. I started a podcast then, which really helped me learn to cultivate stuff like curiosity and really helped me develop my communication skills. And I started posting a lot of sketches online, which developed my comedy and developed my online following and stuff like that. And that's the masculine conviction and doing, which is that energy of doing. But when you don't have that feel with it, you can go through that whole thing unconsciously, while inside I was developing a ton of anxiety. And
Hmm.
the anxiety is something I've dealt with my whole life. And there's many different roots that I'm now discovering, because now I'm feeling into that anxiety to
Right.
learn how to let that anxiety go. So now I realized it was the feeling part of myself that I wasn't consciously doing enough.
Yeah.
to so I could let go of these other things inside of me that were really hurting me and causing me. It was causing me a lot of suffering, man. It
Yeah.
really was. And so during the pandemic, my dad ended up having a stroke,
Sorry to
and
hear that.
he like now lives in like long-term care. And
Mm.
during the pandemic, all my work stopped and I had to go home and kind of start taking care of family stuff and really not know what's going to happen with my dad and everything. And I've
Hmm.
already had anxiety, and then on top of this, it's just like this another layer of just uncertainty that caused my anxiety to really spike. And I had a few times where I had straight up panic attacks, which landed me in the
Mm.
hospital because
Oh,
I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack.
wow.
So it though that was but at the end of the day, those were like really good signals for me that I needed to change my operating system.
Yeah.
And that change was coming back to feeling. And it was coming back to like notice what's inside of you.
Yeah.
You can't go through life where you're just doing and not taking a break and noticing what's inside of you. You can't do
Yeah.
that. Life will always toss that back in your face. And if
Yeah.
you don't take the lesson, it'll toss it back in your face again. And that's why I had more than one panic attack, because it
Yeah.
wasn't it
Like, this
wasn't
guy's
something.
not figuring it out. We need to hit him again. Hit him again. Yeah.
No, that was exactly it. But it turned out to be the best thing for me, man, because it
Yeah.
really got me back to um, feeling my body. So I for 2 years, and I have like a really amazing mentor who helped me work through my anxiety and find the different roots of it.
Yeah.
And just like about 6 months ago, there was like a time where yeah, like at night I had this dream, and it was kind of with my whole family and my dad. And during that dream, it was like such a weird dream. It was like me and my brother and my mom were buying a house from these mobsters. And like in the dream, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, something's not fishy about these guys. Like, what's wrong? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, like the house has stairs in it. You guys didn't tell us the house has stairs, And then I go to my mom and my brother, and I'm just like, guys, dad can't come into this house. It has stairs in it. And I'm like, and they're just like, well, he'll learn to walk. And I'm just like, go and yell at him. I'm like, dad's not walking anymore. Like, get that through your head. Like, he can't walk anymore. And then
Mhm.
like they all started crying, and we all started crying. And then I woke up, and I felt like I had like tears coming down my face, but I felt this like heaviness and anxiety in me, like leaving my body.
Okay.
And it was like me working through it. And since
Amazing.
then, it was like that was like um such a like big moment for me, where I
Yeah.
felt this like anxiety in my chest starting to leave.
Yeah.
And it made me click into like, oh my God, you can get rid of these emotions. And then
Mm.
like a week later, I found this book, like Letting Go, which pretty much talks about this exact thing, like how these
Mhm.
emotions are suppressed inside of you, and you can learn to like bring them up and let them go, so they're not running the system anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ever since then, I've just had so much of this these like emotions inside of me that I started letting go, and anxiety being the main ones. And when you let them go, and I've experienced this in ayahuasca, but
Mm.
like now, because I'm like in such deep meditations, I can experience it more now. It's like you let the anxiety go, you'll start feeling and seeing the memories of like the stuff that's behind it, the stuff that like the root causes of it. And like a lot of
Mhm.
times it was like root causes of like me as a young child. And a lot of it was like my parents fighting and me not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
and me freezing as a kid and not being able to feel my emotions, and like so I just buried them. And
Yeah.
that freezing though, I took that into adulthood, you
Yeah,
know.
right. It's stored inside of you. Like your body remembers what you're doing and it just never forgets until you really dive into it, right?
100%. So I like in the last 6 months, I went through this phase of just purging my body of emotions, and it's the how much lighter I feel every day is a completely
I love
different
that.
thing. It's amazing, and that lightness allows my natural energies to kind of express themselves in their own way, which makes you a more authentic person. And yeah, and that's why like when you said this, I was like, yeah, I want to do this, because like I just started like a YouTube page myself, kind of talking about this exact thing.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like I would have never, I wasn't thinking of anything like this at all, because when I started a spiritual thing back in the day, it was kind of like this, because I like having conversations. But
Mm-hmm.
now I was just like, I'm just going to start one where I just talk to the camera. Because like
Yeah.
I never thought I could talk, but now I can go and talk to the camera, because it's like it comes pouring out of me. I have something I want
Right.
to say.
When you're not worried about what you're saying next and you're just speaking
Mm,
genuinely, it's freeing and so much easier. Um, I guess like a little story about myself. I used to, when I was like 12 to 14, I got in this cycle of just lying about everything, hiding what I was doing, blah, 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 just endless. And it was just lies on top of lies, lies, lies. Um, until I just got caught in it. And it just like, it shut me down. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I said to other people. And I was getting caught lying, bunch of consequences, nothing too crazy, but just like, yeah. And it was just this eye opening moment. And I was like, if I'm honest all the time, if I just say what I really feel and what I think, then I don't have to think about anything I've ever said. Because one, if it was wrong, it was all I knew at the time and I was just
mm.
being genuine and I can be confident in that. Or um, I don't have to constantly remember what I've said. I can just go on. If somebody asks me the same question, I give them the same answer. It's like I can just talk, right? Like it's so I am if I'm always genuine and always honest, then I can just be myself in a way, right? Um, so yeah, that's
That's amazing. Yeah, and
very
it's
similar.
yeah, coming. Do you know why you were lying in the first place?
Um, I was tr- I was trying to be something. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I was just insecure. I didn't know where I was at. I was trying to fit in a different bunch of different groups. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff where I wasn't on the right path of my own path essentially. Taking in a lot of like external ideas. Like I remember when I was like 16, one of my friends, she told me I was getting very confident, and she told me like, "Hey, like you're getting so cocky. Like I don't like it." And that I carried that with me for like 8 years. That's I vividly remember her saying it to me, and like it took me so long to realize like, "Hey, I can be confident." And that isn't being cocky. It isn't being overbearing. Like it's just like, right. So,
Wow,
um, just
it's
little things like that where
it's
I was
crazy
taking
how
in too much outside stuff, right?
yeah. It's crazy
But
how a little thing like that, her saying that one thing, can affect your
just throw you
um
off,
yeah, you affect you for years. That's insane.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that so that whole story you kind of told like it's beautiful. Like, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, that's I hope that somebody hears that and it kind of helps them understand the concept of it a little better because I don't think if I don't guys don't and it's some women too, but more so guys. I don't think they understand the concept of like feeling right. Like like we're taught that it's like okay you have two emotions right it's fine or like you can be mad about it right like those are our rage and stoicism like you said are the permitted states for men and but the process of feeling and like acknowledging the anxiety first you have to see it. You have to say, okay, yeah, this is what anxiety is. And then you have to allow yourself to feel it. And then you have to let it go. So there's this whole process to it that men are never really taught. And I think it's beautiful that you've gone through it and found it. I want to say on your own, but you know, the universe gave it to you in many ways, right? Um, but I do talk about that too with my clients, and like this concept of like a cycle of experience where you take in whatever's happening, you respond to it like mentally and emotionally and physically, and then you have this energy inside of you that you have to do something with, right? Whether it's meditation and letting it go, some people need to move, some people need to scream, like whatever it is. And a lot of times we get blocked somewhere in that cycle, whether it is we refuse to see it, whether we refuse to acknowledge that we're experiencing it. And a lot of times we do experience it and then we just don't do anything with it. And after that gets bottled up for years and years, it just sends us off the deep end a lot of cases, right? um
Yeah,
so
100%. When you said like a lot of times people in masculinity, they talk about stoicism, like being stoic as a part of masculinity. Like, in my opinion, the only way you can truly be stoic is if you learn to feel. Because if you think just not reacting to a situation is stoicism, that's
mhm,
bullshit. Because
mhm,
every situation has like an energetic imprint on it, and
mhm.
it'll come at you, and it will like leave an energetic mark on yourself. But if you're sitting there like squeezing yourself so you don't feel that energy, and like you push it down and act like, oh, I'm all stoic, I don't react to anything, it's like, no, 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 you're going to react. It's just not, it's going
Yeah,
to be in the future in a much more toxic way. So
yeah.
yeah, I I've learned that feeling and letting go of these emotions and learning to acknowledge your inner world. And basically your inner world means that you can feel your body and feel what's going on, and analyze your thoughts and feel see what's going on. That's
Mhm.
how you become truly stoic.
Right. So, and your, what's your ethnic background?
So my family Pakistani. I was born in Calgary, but Pakistani.
Okay, you're Calgarian. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what is kind of the masculinity tropes that come from that ethnic background? Like, what were you taught, and like historically and culturally? And I mean, usually it's different after you become acculturated to Calgary, obviously. But what, how did that affect you? What would you say?
Yeah, the for like men in like our community, it's basically you got to go and get a high paying job and be a provider and have a family and kids like that, and that's just pushed into your head as a young kid. For me, it was I was a smart kid and I had good grades, and my parents, my dad especially came from Pakistan, was like very poor, and his whole dream for me was always for me to become a doctor, and I was on that path. I like had a medical scholarship from high school, and then I went into university, and I just started doing comedy, and it was like in my own head I was like, yeah, I'm never going to become a doctor, I'll just get my degree, and that's that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And that was kind of also selfish of me not to like communicate that with my family earlier, but I that was my thing, that's what I did. And they like, as a man from Pakistan, like you're expected to go become a professional. Like when you move to this country, like
Hmm.
that's the immigrant dream. Like you came here, and now the kids are going to become professionals,
Hmm.
and that's them moving up in the system. So when it was I'm like I'm becoming a comedian, and for me to like do that, I had to do landscaping in the summers so I could fund my tours in the winters.
Okay.
Um, and Yeah, saying telling that to your parents, that's like, they do not like that. It took them a while to accept me being a comedian for sure, but that's what a man's expected to do in our community.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you were able to do that so early, right? Like, I feel like that's my assumption. Like, what age was that at?
Well, I guess yeah, like 19.
Yeah. I feel like that's early to try and step out, right? Like, if your parents are from a different country, and this could apply for anywhere, and they're kind of imposing these ideas on you. Do you think it was easier to do because you probably had peers around you and friends and other people that were not so influenced by their parents or things like that, or what?
Oh that's a good point. I think 100% it was easier. I had three comedians who were improvers, and me and them did improv in high school. And then
Mm,
afterwards, we started doing these shows, and they became really successful. So having those three there with me 100% helped out. And yeah,
okay.
all three of those are like white guys born here who, um, yeah, they didn't have the kind of like professional pressure that I had. I think
Right.
their parents were more like, "Oh, you're doing art, something artistic. Good for you." And I was just like, my parents don't know what art is. So,
Fair enough. Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting. Um, yeah, and I think that's a great segue because I really wanted to talk about like masculinity and comedy. And yeah, I don't even know where to start with it. Like, what's your experience? I don't even know what do you know like what the percentage is of male to female? It's probably more masculine or males in
oh
comedy.
yeah, it has to be 80-20. I would think.
Okay.
I think,
Um,
yeah.
how do you see the dynamic there? Like, yeah, I don't even know exactly what to ask about this. Like, there's such a I feel like comedy has changed a lot in the past 5 to 10 years. I don't know why. I don't watch a lot of comedy, but just like general vibes. And obviously, we met at the comedy fest. But yeah, what's your general outlook when it comes to masculine versus feminine? Whether it's when you're joke writing or just what you see in the industry.
Um. So there's like two very different answers there for joke writing and in the industry. Um. Yeah, I'll do the quick one with joke writing because we were kind of on these topics.
Let's
Like,
go.
so with joke writing
Hmm.
and masculinity, when I was talking about masculine energy, how I was saying thinking.
Hmm.
So with joke writing, you can write jokes with your if you're really good at thinking, which I'm good at, and I'm really good at logic, I'm
Hmm.
really good at crafting jokes. So for me, when I was talking about this whole journey of feeling, performing a joke on stage and then feeling the audience, feeling feeling the whole environment around you, and while you're saying that joke, that's the feminine energy, and that's a whole different thing. So
Hmm.
I had to embody that, and that's the hardest part for me in comedy was learning that, especially when I get anxiety, which anxiety, like my body tenses up
Right.
and it stops me from feeling. And then my jokes don't land nearly as hard because
Yeah.
now I'm just telling the joke and people might go like, "Oh, that's a clever joke," but they're not really connected with you. While that feeling is the thing that's connecting you with everybody, which when you can connect with the energy around you and the energy of the crowd and the whole situation, and your joke comes out through that energy and that
Hmm.
feeling, that's when you start having these amazing shows where everybody's just like gets lost in that flow stage.
Yeah.
So that's that aspect of the
Okay.
joke writing with the masculine feminine, but then the community with masculine and feminine, it's interesting, man. Like I think politics really did a number on comedy. Um,
Like you're just talking about like politically correct stuff, or what do you mean by
Well,
politics?
like it for me, like let's say in Toronto, yeah, because it created communities and stuff, and it kind of like broke everybody up. When it's like I'm gonna say myself, I'm just like I just like doing comedy, and I want to do it for every type of crowd and figure
Hmm.
out how to make every crowd laugh, or even if they're not my crowd, I still try to have fun with it, right? But
Hmm.
yeah, with like politics made it like they broke people up into communities of like very politically correct and then very like edgy, where this is where that like masculine kind of energy hangs out, but it's more like it's more toxic. It's more like I would say guys who haven't really matured their masculinity. So it becomes, and when you don't mature your masculinity, it's like a lot of repressed emotions you're speaking out of, so it becomes cruel. And
Right.
there's
Yeah.
almost a cruelty in like their comedy. But then like the ultra politically correct community, if you just go to their shows, it's more like they feel so much that it's like their jokes are all like it's kind of just in that realm, so like their jokes aren't very well constructed because they're
Yeah.
not like thinking of the logic behind it or anything else. They're more of just like trying to connect with an audience, and then it just becomes pandering almost, you know.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Okay.
it's like I would say that's kind of how you see the energy play out a little bit in the whole community, like comedy community as a large. I'm speaking more of just my city, but I'm sure like comedians in other cities would resonate with what I'm saying too.
Yeah. I think that that's an interesting kind of like framework to look at it from, the joke writing aspect and like like performing, feeling the crowd. Like I've performed before, and like not in comedy, but really connecting and understanding your presence on stage and how you're interacting is absolutely more of a feeling concept. And like you picture it, like that's the weather of the room, right? Like you have to
Mm,
be a part of that. You're not just the mountain on stage doing whatever you want, in a sense, right? And then yeah, the polarization. I'm like thinking of kind of the people who have been in controversies lately. Like you think about, I don't know, Dave Chappelle or something like that, right?
mm,
Who's sometimes, quite often, toes that kind of cruel line, and
mm.
has come under fire for it. Or um, the opposite side of things. I don't know who would be more on the feeling side. Um, maybe you never hear of them, I guess, but the
Well,
yeah.
yeah, you it's if you get too much into that, I think if you get too much into either end, it you're not gonna get big really, you know. I think
Hmm.
like a lot of the big comedians have like a little bit of a balance. They might lean one way or the other, but
Yeah.
they have to have a little bit of a balance, I
Right.
believe, to like get big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Because that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that means they're good and they're connecting with people, so they have to have a little bit, I think.
Right. Yeah. I'd say that's the art form of it, really. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, I man, like the cruelty thing, it's like that kind of shit. Like ever since Trump won again, you see you see guys, because I don't know if you've heard like people are saying like the R word's back, and people are saying like now homophobic slurs and stuff, and like they're not
Hmm.
saying it at the group of people, but they're just saying it like as a thing.
Hmm.
And I was never a guy like, oh, don't say any of these words or anything like that. Like if somebody said it in a way that was just like so like needed in the joke, I kind of like I'm like, all right, that's they said it properly, or like they said it in a way that surprised me and it made me laugh.
Yeah.
But now it's like guys are just saying it to say it, and it's
Yeah.
like they think it's cool, and it's like it's almost like they're like enjoying trying to trigger like the few people in the audience who might actually get triggered by it. and then they'll
Mm-hmm.
just be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Is that did that offend you?" It's like it's like this energy of like it's such a cruel energy. It's like trying to like hurt people energy, and
Yeah.
like I have zero interest in that crap. You know.
It's like it to me the word that comes out is just cheap, right? It's like that's cheap
Hmm.
comedy, low hanging fruit. Like it's not like I think about like racial jokes and I love a good racial joke, but I also grew up around like I'm the token black guy, like you're gonna pick somebody's pocket, like you like watermelon, like just these like great juice, great pop, like shitty, not funny jokes, you know?
Hmm.
And like when you say like that cruel stuff, it's like that's what comes to mind. It's like they're just so easy, like so stereotypical, tropey, cliche. Here's your like a standard joke, and like to me that's not funny. But if you can work it in a witty and like you said surprising way, I think that's what good comedy is. And um so yeah, there's a bit of both there. Once again, right, you've got the masculine kind of logic of working that in correctly while not going too far into the cruelty and mountainish vibes of just standing there saying your piece just to have somebody run into you, right?
Hmm. And that's why I think like the majority of people, I think a lot of like the best comics or even just people we see in our lives that affect us have like a little bit of a balance,
Mm,
or they just like they just come back to their authentic self. So even if you do end up like coming back to your authentic self and you are a very masculine person and that's the energy you mostly espouse, that's completely fine if it's like natural, you know, if it's coming like
mhm,
in a natural expression, and
mhm,
you're not forcing it.
mhm,
That's like kind of why I teach like the whole idea of like trying to let go of like these suppressed emotions in us and like actually have that ability to feel into that so that you can express yourself authentically, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm.
yeah, the best comedians I feel are that it's coming through true authenticity.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually like that how you mentioned like if it is authentic, if that's who you are and that's your piece, like if you've worked through that and that's just kind of your personality, I think that'll come through and it'll garner the support in the crowds in the places that it does. Even like what's coming to mind is like Matt Rife. I don't know, like I've seen him. I saw him in Ottawa last year. Um, but even some of the like not feedback, but like controversy he went under after his Netflix special. Well, some people didn't like it a lot, and some people loved it, right? And he's into that
Mm,
crowd work, very edgy, like harsh stuff. And to me, it comes off of like I'm not the biggest fan of it, but people obviously love it, right? Like
mhm,
he's doing really well. Um, and then on the other side, people hate it. So um, it's not that it's niche, but it is. I to me it feels authentic, and he's definitely good at it. So that's kind of what came to mind when you said that. If it comes out in an authentic way, then that might be that, right? Um,
yeah, I get it. I honestly I haven't watched it at all, so I can't comment on him personally. So I like, but like also I would say just just because somebody's big also doesn't mean they're authentic. Um,
mhm,
yeah, because especially with how online works now, anybody can get an
mhm,
audience,
yep.
and the one thing I'm like you should be able to notice online is people pick at our inner wounds, and that's how they build an audience. They know we have
Mm,
like there's a lot of people in this masculine area where they all
manosphere.
yeah, manosphere, yeah, like they see that like men are lonely and they have these wounds of being lonely. They have these wounds of being unseen. They have these wounds of lack of connection. They
Mhm,
see that, and then they put content out to exploit those wounds, and like
Yeah.
they'll say like, hey, we can blame these wounds on this, and we can blame these wounds on women, and we can blame these wounds on political correctness, we can blame these wounds on whatever the hell you
Immigrants.
want to say. So like
Mhm.
um and these guys get huge.
Yeah.
And I even saw one of these like a month ago. I think it was like showing like a couple of these guys who got huge, just kind of shitting on women for years. And I'm not gonna lie, during the pandemic, when I was at my lowest of the low, I did
Mhm.
listen to these guys,
Mhm.
and it was like I was lonely. I was in a really bad spot. I was like completely anxious all the time. So I needed to listen to something to distract myself from feeling what I'm feeling. And I
Yeah.
used to listen to some of these guys at my most vulnerable, at my like lowest points.
Yeah.
And their stuff, all it did was just create anger against women, or anger against like the system, or anger. Like it was just really toxic shit. But then like just a month ago, I like kind of saw like these guys act like they're the coolest guys ever, who like make millions and have this huge following and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like it came out, these guys are like paying their girlfriends to be with them and shit like that. You
Oh
know what I'm
no.
saying? It's just like a complete bullshit. And it's because these guys are so inauthentic.
Oh
And that's like
fuck.
a good thing for people to know. It's
Yeah.
because you can you can keep in that only masculine part of yourself where it's do action, 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 and you can get that outwardly success. But if you can't feel within yourself to feel what's really happening inside, and to
Yeah.
feel if you're really expressing yourself in an authentic way, if you can't
Mhm.
feel into yourself, like you're never going to be satisfied, you're never going to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the outside world, and now that I'm 38 now, so have enough experience to realize um I'm never going to be satisfied by sex, or by success, by money, by experiences. I've traveled so much of the world. It
Mhm.
doesn't, unless if I find that fulfillment in myself, it
Yeah.
won't satisfy me.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, once you do, all that stuff kind of disappears. Like it becomes so much less important to obtain
A
when you're
100%.
focused on like that inner peace, really, right?
Mm-hmm. A
I
hundred.
think one of the person that comes to mind is Jim Carrey and his journey. And how he's come out and said he's like, I've had everything and I was depressed, right? Like none of it mattered until I broke down my inner being and pieced it back together in a way that made sense and was actually fulfilling myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's very admirable. I love that. I really love that. And I've talked about it before, even like the obtaining of things and just all take, like how much can I get? And like you said, this manosphere that's just promoting it and fostering it and making money off of it themselves. And it's all just a charade. Um, it's all just performative, really, right?
Yeah, and like I even say to, I really like feel bad for young kids, because like I know how powerful that content is.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I fell for it and I was like 32 at the time, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I was a grown adult at the time, like really grown, and I should have
Mm-hmm.
known better. And I was just at the darkest point, and it hit me, and
Yeah.
I fell into it for a bit. But like these kids, they're not developed enough, and like they're so young, and they like they listen to this shit and they think like, I'm not, like some of these kids guys say shit like, you're not good unless if you're making six figures, you got a six pack, you're banging this many chicks every year. Like it's like stupid shit like this.
Insane. Yeah.
And
Insane.
I really do feel bad. It's like I want, like, especially if I hope some young people like watch guys like you, because it's like, yeah, tell them, it's like, find that inner peace within yourself first. Your purpose will come through that. You maybe you'll be happy like making 40K a year doing a very simple job and taking care of the people in your life. Like you could be extremely happy and fulfilled in a life like that. But
Yeah.
maybe you find a deeper purpose that involves you getting wealth in your life and riches as well.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it through your inner being and you have that fulfillment first, you're good. You have no
Yeah.
problems then.
Yeah. You'll be happy the whole way along. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's lofty. There's some downs.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's not make any promises here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get that. I love that. Cool. Um, yeah. What do we talked about a lot. That's great. I think we'll wrap it up here. What is a message you have, whether it's to like aspiring comedians, maybe it's men and specifically, like, is there a message that you want to put out into the world that the listeners might have their lives changed by? I don't know.
Yeah, I was that's kind of what I was talking about, but man, just like my YouTube page is letting go with Noor, and it's just like let go of the shit. Like stop putting so much pressure on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All that pressure, all that thoughts, what society tells you that you need, um, all of this stuff inside of you that's like this turmoil that's happening. Like all of this stuff can be felt and let go of, and like let go of it and
Mm-hmm.
come back to yourself, come back to like really truly being, and from there you'll find all the answers you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I wanted to ask you a question.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I love this what you're doing. I'm like what's
Thank
your
you.
goals? Like what's your goals with this how did like yeah, like your idea of masculinity, like was it just this was just more of a search, or is there something wrapped up in that as well?
Wow. Okay. Where do I start with that? So thank you for the question first, I guess. But so the podcast itself, um, is just I mean, I had one conversation with an acquaintance, Jesse Lipscomb. He's an actor out in BC. Shout out to him. But we had one conversation. We reached out, we talked, we did it live on Instagram, and then I was like, I just want to do more of this. That's like, I just want to talk to people, and because whatever. And the idea to talk to him kind of came from two portions. One, I was super interested getting into my counseling degree, my master's in psychology. I was trying to find my niche, what I wanted to focus on. I knew it was kind of men's health. I knew I've gone through so much change and growth. So I assume people are doing the same, and I see what's happening in the world, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, it's like, what are we doing? Right. Like some of the shit that's out there, some of the like big podcasters, and I'm like, where are the people on, we'll call it the left, because it's just opposite the right.
Mm,
Um, Even though, yeah, whatever, we won't get political here, but um, where is like just like the wholesome male content? Because I know how I feel right now, and I know what it took me to get there, and I know the emotions that I wasn't allowed to feel, and I know all the roads that were presented to me for masculinity as I was growing up, and nobody ever said like, hey, this is how to be like a half decent guy, right?
mm,
um so I just think there needs to be a stronger voice on this side, and so that came with, in conjunction with my degree and finding a niche there. And then I started like a 180-day posting challenge on Instagram. And I was just like making content. It actually ended today or yesterday or something.
oh, good for
Um,
you.
Thank you. And so yeah, those combined, I just started making content, pushing it out, and this kind of became part of it. And goals with it, I don't know. I don't like, even my Instagram has grown so much since I started this challenge. It started, I was at 150 followers. Now I'm at 11,000
Huge, man. That's really good.
in like 6 months. So that's like
That's really good.
insane, right? So obviously there's a space for it. So I'm just gonna, I don't want to set any like numbers goals. I'm just setting kind of like, I want to do like 20 podcast episodes by like the middle of next year. I want to be invited to publicly speak somewhere. I want to um, grow my private counseling practice.
Mm.
I'm going to do some like 40-day meditation challenges and try and get some groups going. I want to like start some like in-person community stuff here in Edmonton. I want to just like have more conversations. And so I'm not really setting any like big numbers goals or anything in terms of growth. It's literally just like do this and keep doing it. And whoever, even if like two people listen to this one, then and they get something from it, that's what really matters to me, because I know these conversations need to be had. Um, and we really need to start talking about what this masculinity is and how it's changing in today's landscape, with the disillusion of gender norms and gender roles and gender in general, right?
Mm.
So like, where is our place? Is masculinity under attack? Traditionally, yeah, sure. Is it a danger to existing as a man? Not at all, right?
Mm.
Um, so there's just important conversations that need to be had. My goal is to just have them and with as many people, because that is the only way to put that information out there, to show that there's so many different experiences that can come together in a civil way and um, show us the healthiest way forward, hopefully.
I love that, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you for your time. Um, it was a pleasure to have you.
That
You
was a
sound like an
blast.
amazing person. I love the spiritual journey and emotional journey you've been on.
Yeah, thanks,
And yeah,
man. And yeah, I love what you're doing too. I like what you're doing. I really wish you the best, and I hope our paths cross again.
absolutely. Thank you.